How is it going, everybody? It has been quite a while. I mean, 2 weeks because July 4th decided to be on a Saturday. I don't believe Callum will be joining us this time. So you're going to be stuck listening to me the whole time, which I know is unfortunate. But, you know, low budget here. So, again, in case you're new to the stream, if you have any questions, my name's Josh Durham. I'm a professional concept artist, currently freelance, currently working from home. And, any questions related to the industry, any questions related to how to get started, art questions, questions about how to ask a question, anything really. Just, shoot it in the chat. I'll try to answer it to the best of my abilities. And on the way there, we'll discover some kind of cool concept. Not sure what it's going to be yet. I do want to mention that this... Oh, also, let me know if the audio is coming through both ears, if you're listening through headphones, because I remember last time there was a comment about it being on the left ear, and I said I would fix it this time. And I'm a man of my word, so I really want to make sure that it's fixed. But if it's not, then I'm going to look like a loser. Alright. So, anyways, so for this time, I do want to focus on something other than what I was doing before. Because, we've done, what was it, two? Yeah, we've done 2 streams based on, like, a cyberpunk world before, right? So we want to make sure that we have some kind of variety in our portfolio. If you do the same subject all the time, sure, you may be like what you really like to do the most, but you're going to limit yourself to how many clients you get, because if you only do cyberpunk stuff and then people aren't making cyberpunk games or movies, they're not going to hire you because they're just going to see that that's all you can do, right? You need to have different thematic elements, different genres, horror, like an action movie, cyberpunk, fantasy, even just like a standard world like Watch Dogs, right? Watch Dogs 2 was basically just I think it was at LA, right? Or no, San Fran. I think it was San Francisco. So Watch Dogs 2 was just San Francisco. So the concept art looked like just a standard city until you get to like the sci-fi areas. So we're gonna mix it up. So I figured we'll do the complete opposite of what we have been doing, where we've been doing the cyberpunk hustle and bustle of a city life. There's been color everywhere. There's been a lot of dust and crap, or it's just people, air, walking around kicking stuff up. So I figured this time we could probably do something a little bit more down home, maybe something more country, like not like pickup trucks and dogs named Old Jake, but I mean something out away from a city, I don't know what the narrative would be, but that's another thing I want to focus on, is because the last 2 we did were mainly establishing shots, and with establishing shots, the difference between what I'm trying to do now and that establishing shot is, let's say you're watching a movie or a cinematic in a game, and the establishing shot would be like the actual cut to what the area looks like, what's going on in the area. A good example of that is Alita, Battle Angel. Towards the beginning, there's just like this establishing shot of this whole city, and it just zooms through the city, and you get to see everything that's going on. It kind of puts you in the world, right? Well, those are great, but there's no narrative to it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can fit characters interacting with each other, but they're side characters, and it's not really an actual important bit to the narrative. So for this one, what I'm trying to focus on is something that's a little bit more calm, a little bit more moody, emotional, and it could, if we wanted it to, we could put it into a direct scene in a game or a movie, cutscene in a game or a movie or show, and it could just be an actual important element to the story, right? Still concept though. We're not storyboarding here, which again, storyboarding is basically just doing key arts roughly and then figuring out what goes in between. So like, let's say switch brushes here. There we go. So let's say you're storyboarding and you got just a bunch of different rectangles. Whoops. I'm just going to keep this brief since this storyboarding is not the main focus here, but I will do like a brief description of the process of storyboarding. All right, so you got 1, you got 2, 3, 4. So let's say the story involves I don't know, like a guy here, just like this, talking to a guy here in the background a little bit. It's like that. And then there's like an alley behind him. So it'd be like that sort of thing. Okay. And then, you get to the second scene, which now, let's say these two guys are talking to each other. The second scene could be, I don't know, like now you cut it to a close-up of like this, where it's a bit more looking at the background, which would be that way, over that way. So, now there'd be like city stuff, there's like a street, stuff like that going on back here. And then, scene 3 could be like, oh, well, now it's getting serious, so we're gonna get like a close-up, the main dude talking here, and have like some generic out of focus stuff behind him. And then number 4 could be the other guy. So the other guy, or I guess girl, could make it a girl. Why not? I just accidentally squiggled some hair, so we'll make it a girl. So it's just, she's talking to him, and those are the 4 scenes, right? These are not establishing shots. These don't show the area that they're in, but it still is an important part of the narrative, right? I think the most important one would be this one, where they're talking to each other, but you see behind them. And then, of course, the close-ups really help sell the emotion, helps the actors and character models and stuff like that show up with all the texture and everything. And, if you're watching like a Final Fantasy game, then it's going to be some ridiculous rendering when it comes to that. So, that's storyboarding, right? And then the whole goal of it is now you have these key arts, which I erased number 4, but who cares? So you have these key arts, but then the in-between scenes, like these are all the cuts, right? Like that. And then it's, if it's a game, then it would be the animator's job to figure out like, well, what happens between these 2 scenes, or is it a direct cut to these 2 scenes? Is there like a transition of maybe, like if these guys are talking, maybe some random Joe Schmo photo bombs and walks in, and then there's just like a wipe transition that goes across. It's just the way it is. But as a concept artist, storyboarding just ends up being, can you make an interesting composition that fits the narrative and then also fits the style of everything that's going on? So what we're going to do today is we're going to make one of these key arts. We're going to make like a narrative driven scene, not just a vague view of the whole area. It's going to be a bit more zoomed in. You're not going to see everything. It's just going to be more focused on what's happening in the scene, what's the mood, which I mentioned in the last stream, that the mood is really the most important part when it comes to concept art, for me at least, because that's what really sets the precedent to how you want to attempt it, right? So anyways, done with the ramble. The main thing that I'm going for here is, you know, home, like down to earth, not a city, something rural, something out there, and that kind of stuff. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make a narrative around it. I don't really know what the narrative is going to be, but I also don't know if it's going to be fantasy, if it's going to be like a sci-fi thing, if it's going to be like The Last of Us, where it's just depressing. But I am kind of leaning towards The Last of Us mood just because I was playing it recently. And I'm the kind of guy that's when you're playing a game, some people love to look at the cool characters, some people love to look at the cool guns, and some people love the way the game plays. I love the way a game environment looks, and Last of Us nailed it. But anyways, so I'm gonna try to focus on something like that. Something snowy. I'm thinking cold, since we have those previous ones were in the city, so it'd be, even if it was cold, it's still pretty warm because there's all those people packed into places, right? It's gonna be kind of sweaty and gross. I'm thinking something cold, maybe snowy, maybe like warm lighting, so it'd be kind of cool shadows, warm lighting, something like that. That's what we're gonna figure out. So, if you have any questions along the way, let me know. And if you hear any thunder in the background, probably not gonna die, but it is a thunderstorm because welcome to every day in Florida. So let's get started here. So what I did is I basically made a mood board for myself, right? And in case you don't know what a mood board is, some clients will come up to you with a description. They'll say, I want this and that with this and that going on. Or, I want character A to be running across the bridge, and then it's just like a huge gap, stuff like that. But you don't really know what the colors are. You don't know. Most of the time, some clients can tell you. But some clients will not only give you a description, but they'll also give you a mood board. And I've working freelance, most of the time a mood board is like Pinterest. They'll just send me a link to like some kind of collection on Pinterest that they've made, or ArtStation, and you can use the mood board to get a general feeling for the image, because looking at their mood board, even though they're all going to be slightly different and they're going to have different elements to them, they're all going to sort of form in your brain what kind of mood this client is looking for, right? And then, of course, using photo references and stuff, I mentioned in the last stream that I don't use the whole image most of the time. Sometimes I'll use the image for the composition, and then I'll just warp it, play with it. But most of the time, there's like one element in the image that I like, and then the rest of the image I'll just delete. So I went ahead and found some stuff on Matte Paint, and just, across the universe here, which is a great movie, by the way. But, since this is a Matte Paint stream, thought I could show you some of the Matte Paint images that you can use. And I, stumbled across some cool ones. Got some snow, got some towns, even got some Asian architecture, which I don't know why. I mean, I like the architecture, but I don't know if that's what we're going to go for, because I don't know if like a Nepal scene or, Tibet kind of thing is what I'm looking for, but we're gonna see, right? And there was one that I was working with, just, how to just practice to make sure everything was up to snuff, right? And there was this composition that I ran into, and I like this one. So the first one we're going to do is I'm just going to set this up the way I stumbled across it before. It's going to be a bit more zoomed in, sort of like that. Then if we take this one, and I only want the grass mostly. I do like the colors that the mountains bring, so if you just set it to darker color, like that, and then let's do this first. Whoops. No, don't search Adobe stock. They really need to move that. I always accidentally click right there instead of place embedded. It's so annoying. This one. So if we take this one, flip it, edit, transform, flip horizontal, set it to darken or darker color. The only difference between the two is that if you do darken, it lets the colors interact with each other, but if you do darker color, it keeps the original color. I think darken's fine. Let's do darken. So, we got that going. Let's put it about there-ish. And I know there's this crap right here that we don't need, so we get rid of that. And then get rid of all this stuff too. There we go. Cool. Alright, so let's change the levels, image adjustment levels, bring it down the midtones because we have it on darken, so that's how we make it stand out. So we'll bring out this kind of, which of course it had nothing to do with a barn, right? It was like some kind of leftover mine shaft, I'm assuming. And we'll just bring it to like there. Yep. Content aware here, just because I'm going to see what it does. Good enough. Okay, delete that. Let's delete some of this random stuff over here. Cool, and then we'll turn on our little snow layer from before, this one. And let's move this around so we start getting something cool here. Do we want lighten? Lighter color? Darken, darker color. I think if we leave it like that, and we just content aware all of this barn stuff that we don't need, get some of that in there. Should, in theory, fix it up. If not, we'll just paint it out. Yeah, that's good enough. It does make this weird blur back here, so we're going to fix that. If we just take some of this blue, the light blue, and just kind of paint over the roof a little bit, like this. Get that in there. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. And then, I don't like this tree stuff right here. Get rid of that. Paint some of that garbage out of there. We don't want any of that in there. Okay. I think also this needs to go. This little bit right here. I do like the idea that it's doing here. It's creating this like tree leaves are coming over, but I don't like how prevalent it is. So we're gonna kind of push that back a little bit. Let's mask the roof. Kind of just push that back, and then we need to fix. Ah, I see. So the mask actually needs to go here, like that. And then just kind of paint over it, push it all back. And then keep in mind in the navigator up here, creates this like a little thumbnail, right? Just up here in the top right, just so you can kind of get a general feeling of what you're dealing with here. Because if you really focus on the image, you're gonna get lost. You know, you're gonna need a GPS. You're gonna need to stop and ask directions. You're gonna have to, if we're in this area, you're gonna have to ask Cletus. You know. So it's just better off just to use the navigator. kind of keep your idea more about the whole feeling than it is about what you're working on exactly. I don't like how fogged out that stuff is on the left there. Let's try something. Let's try taking this like that. Like that. Content aware? It's gonna mess up this tree, but we'll see what happens. No. Okay. So let's go with I don't like that. I think it's the color I'm not liking. So let's change the color of it. If we change our brush to color, then you can kind of just imply some of that color in there. We don't want to overload it, you know, because if you start throwing too much color in there, it starts feeling very like too saturated, you know. It feels kind of like a cartoon a little bit. Okay. I think that's coming pretty well. There's that thunder. I don't know if you heard that. Okay, so let's add some snow, because right now we have this kind of cold grass, but we want snow grass. Snow grass? we we want snow in the grass, right? So we need to find something here that fits that description. I mean, this one does, as long as we don't darken it. So if we put it back like there and then lighten. Lighten or pin light? No. Yeah, lighten. So then we'll bring that down. Bring the levels down because it's too much right now. Actually, it might actually just be fine if we just delete it. Delete everything but the grass. And then we want to bring that below that layer. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm feeling it. Now the snow is matching the roof, which is cool because, you know, if the roof is metal, it would have some kind of reflectivity to it. It would have snow on it probably, depending on, you know, how long this place has been around, what time of day it is, all the usual random facts that we have to know as concept artists. I think that might be too blue over there. Let's kind of lighten that up just a smidge. Like that. And see, I could in theory just delete this blue layer over it and add white to help increase the snow, you know, the snow on it. But in this moody, depressing feel, that snow is being kind of blue is nice. I like it. I think we're gonna keep that. So let's get something with the windows. This was the other thing. I don't know why that one brings up raw, even though it's a JPEG. Whatever, dude. Alright, so we'll stretch it out just because we just want those doors right there. We don't want anything else. Let's darken it. Put it like there. Select just the doors. Control Shift I. Select inverse. Delete. Boom. Alright. So now we got some kind of windows. Is it Windows 10? That was terrible. Alright, so we're gonna keep, I think that it might be cool if we have like right here. Well, I guess if you follow the path that way, it'd kind of be like there. If we had this be like an open door, and then maybe the narrative of the scene is that one of the characters is coming home, and then the other character is like in the barn, you know, waiting on them. So they got this this kind of cool lantern, warm lighting behind them, but then the character is in the front. So you would have like a, I don't know, about here, character here, and then about here. Oops. There. About here, you would have character number 2 just hanging out in the barn, waiting on character number 1 to come, right? And then that brings a good composition of going across the screen, right? It's not centralized. It's got like some kind of balance to it. I dig that. I think that's what we're going to do. So, to do that though, we're going to need to fix this window issue, which I think will just be easier if I do its own layer. So, trying to picture a barn door, and I don't think they're round. I think they're squared off on the edges. And then if you want it to be kind of dramatic, you would want like an outline here, and then maybe have the other one open just a little bit, like that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Cool. So let's find like an orange, something like that. Yeah, it's a little bit too bright. Let's bring that down just a little bit here. Ah, because I'm on color, of course, that makes sense. Okay, so something like that, and then color dodge, really kind of make that glow in there. But you don't want to use color dodge too strongly, because it will seriously mess up how well the rendering looks. I need to fix this door. Let's do that real quick. This door needs to go with perspective. It also needs to be red. Kind of like that. There we go. And then same thing with this one. Perspective is fine, but it needs to be red. You could even have some of this weird off-color wood on the side here. Go. Let's kind of fix that a bit. Like that. Yeah, so now we have, just looking at the navigator, right? Obviously it looks like crap, but we have a, we have like an actual feeling to the piece now. We have some kind of focal point. So I'm just gonna fix this up just a little bit. Fix that grass mostly. I'm gonna throw some of the snow in there as well. Just kind of make this place a little bit more snowy. And keep looking back at the navigator just to ensure that what you're doing is what you want it to do. Which means I have to go above this, right? Yep. Dang it. Okay. So we'll do some of that. Some of that. I mean, I like working on days when it rains, you know, because it's really relaxing. It's nice. But then at the same time, because it's relaxing, it's hard to actually get motivated to do the work because you're just about to fall asleep the whole time. So let's do some of that. Let's grab some of the roof color. Yeah, something like that. It's looking cool. I think it's a little bit too rocky right here. Let's fix that. Yeah, like that. It's not bad. I'm digging it. We do need to fix this, this like circle. It looks like a flare that was on the camera, which is on our original layer, yeah. And if we content aware, it's not gonna look great, but if we do content aware 50%, maybe, it might dull it just enough. No, but let's try this. Let's get rid of that, or some of that. 50% again, but different mask. Even worse. All right, so we are going to have to fix these trees by putting in some more trees, which is, yeah, it's easy fix. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It just means that we need to find some trees that match, and I think these match pretty well. So let's take these trees on the corner here, edit, transform, flip, flippity do, there we go. We'll put them like there, and probably darken, or darker color. I think darker color might work, but we have to drop the saturation down quite a bit. Do it like that. Looks awful, so we'll cut out everything we don't need here. There we go. So let's see. We're gonna fix these trees. If we take the levels down on the ones, whoops, didn't mean to do that. If we take the levels down, we can fog it up, but then still add more tree in there. There we go. And then bump it up a little bit so it's not black. Okay, and then do some of this content aware. Maybe that'll work. Well, at 100%. Yeah, it looks fine. I don't like this one. That one can go. But the rest are fine. I'm looking at the thumbnail, by the way. Just, you know, keeping an eye on the navigator. It's looking cool. Alright, so I think we have our general sketch there, right? So we'll move on to the next one. So let's find another Coolio composition here. Let's, I did like this one. I got this one just because of the composition with the snow ramp. The boat is cool, it is, but I like this snow dock kind of thing here. So I think if we, ooh, you know what? What if we use, because I remember, I also got another thing. If I could find it. Because these are not organized. There it is. So I remember I found this picture, and I like the whole emptiness of it, you know? It's out in the middle of nowhere kind of thing. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit. Because like I said, we don't want this to be an establishing shot. We want this to be like a narrative shot. So maybe like that. And then delete that. And then maybe if we bring that snow walkway from the boat, might have something cool. I've done other snow stuff. I don't know. I think, like, thinking about it, I think snow is probably the least common subject that I've worked on. What's up, Ian? It's been a while, man. You know, 2 weeks, call it a weekly stream, and it takes 2 weeks to get back. Yeah, I think snow is probably the, like, least common theme that I've been asked to do. I'm not liking this in case you're wondering. I like the composition of that, but I don't like the boat dock picture mixing in with it. So let's find something else to mix in there. I think something with frozen water would look cool, you know, like the lake iced over. So maybe something like this one, maybe, which of course has a lake, but we don't want anything else. So let's see if we can do that. That'd be a lighten situation. Lighter color or lighten? Do lighter color. So then, like that. Cool. Drop the levels on it though, because it's too bright, obviously. We don't want it to be that bright. We're trying to get moody. Okay. And then, if we just grab the house, delete it like that. Obviously that's not perfect. It's very opaque, but that might work. This is just an idea. And it's the way my streams go, man. I mean, not even my streams, my concept work usually is just like, is this gonna look cool? Probably, maybe, maybe not. Try it out. Let's try this one. This is more moody. It's a little bit, it's like a worn down house, I think. So we don't want it to be an establishing shot, right? So we don't want it to be that zoomed out, showing the whole thing. We want it to be a bit more zoomed in. Maybe like here or so. And then maybe the narrative could be that somebody lives here. Maybe this is like an apocalypse thing, so the house is broken down. It's kind of caved in from the snow on the roof because nobody's there to maintenance it, but then somebody moved in as like a temporary shelter, maybe, you know, something like that. So we need something else though, you know, because right now it's just a house, right? I might actually paint in some tarping, like maybe if somebody's moved in enough here, or if they stayed there long enough, there would be some kind of cover, obviously, since the house doesn't really work that well. I like these animals. So if we do darken, yeah. So let's delete these guys. Bada boom. So now we've got some grazing animals. They're used to the snow. They're full of wool. Maybe this guy is like, or this family, you know, lives here. But if they live here, there's got to be some kind of cover, because nobody's going to live in this abandoned, broken house like this. So let's do, if we exaggerate it, we can fix it, right? So what I mean is, if we exaggerate how broken this house is, we can then add a tarp over it to fix it, kind of thing, you know, to add some character, and then also like add some more narrative elements to it. So let's take how broken this house is. Okay, do like that, kind of go with the direction of the roof, and then kind of cut out a hole, some kind of hole here. Get some planks going across that haven't broken, some planks that are bent, stuff like that. Then delete, well, not delete, we'll paint over it. Do like a darker, something like that. But you don't want black, you just want to be kind of darker. Here we go. So now we have this kind of caved in roof with a hole in it. Snow is too powerful, too heavy, stuff like that. You know, nothing that I would ever know about, because friggin' Florida never snows. So yeah, like that. Cool. And then if we, because that's on a different layer, If we transparency lock, we'll only paint in that hole, right? So let's do a tarp, but it would have some color, but it would be very desaturated. It wouldn't be, it'd be probably like a blue in here kind of thing. Maybe a little darker. Yeah, like that. So you throw this blue in there. And then, since it's wet, because snow is wet, then it would have some kind of gloss to it. So like that. And then maybe the tarp goes over the hole, you know? Maybe. Maybe it's just like draped over the top. Let's see. Let's see what that looks like. Nah. I think it's fine in the hole like that. So let's keep that going. We do need to fix the fact that it looks like nobody's here, right? There's a hole that goes all the way through the house here. So let's fix that. Done. But we need to make it look like somebody's here, and somebody's got lights, like this orange glow over here. So let's continue that orange glow idea. Let's do something like this. Yeah, Ian, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but for everybody that wasn't here when I first started the stream, I've been doing cyberpunk stuff, and I figured, you know, we need to show variety, right? If we're gonna show our portfolio to somebody, it needs to have some kind of different stuff to it, you know? Or nobody's gonna hire you just for that one thing that you do. And then if they do, then you're just gonna be stuck in the corner doing that one thing, and then say that project ends, because it will at some point, then you're kind of just boned because your whole portfolio is only one thing. So, you know, we're gonna mix it up. We're just gonna have some kind of snowy, moody narrative and see what we come up with. I think these need to be doors, not windows. So let's kind of cover that orange a little bit. Something like that. Cool, cool. Maybe throw some more snow on the logs, since it is kind of broken down. Which I know in the real picture the snow wasn't on there, but it looks cooler, right? Add some cool factor to the image of how much snow there really is here. This like winter abandoned scene place. Okay, that's cool. So we'll grab some of this orange, add some variety in the color there, like that. Maybe a little bit in the little one too, like that, something like that. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So maybe, because I mean, of course, I don't have a script to run off of here, right? But maybe the narrative for this one is like this family lives here, but it's like an apocalypse place. So it still is showing a little bit of the, all the way in the back here, it is still showing a little bit of modern technology with this power line. But then you can tell that this place has been abandoned, or it's just been unmaintenanced for a very long time. So I think that'll work. These people are living here, but they need, I think there might be something needs to go right here where these trees are, like some farm related maybe, something like maybe a fence. Try this fence. Maybe that'll work. I just don't know. Something like that. I think that'll work. If we do like that. And then, I don't know, does it look cooler with this roof right here? Is that cool? Maybe if I rotate it, since it's kind of falling apart, it wouldn't be straight up and down. I think it, Nah, I think it looks cooler with the collapsed side of the house there. Yeah, that. I think that's cooler. Alright, so we'll get rid of the trees. Keep this fence going. That. So we do want to get rid of that part. Fence right now is cool. I think we need to add some kind of character to it though. So if we, there we go. So if we bring it into the snow, so it has some kind of like actual snow on it, there would be snow on the top of the posts, obviously. We don't want to paint on the darkened layer. There we go. Snow in the post, bring the post into the snow. Something like that. Looks cool. Cool. We do want to bump the levels up on it a little bit, because right now the fence is a little bit too, whoops, the fence is a little bit too dark, which I understand the house is super dark, which the fence being dark would make sense, but I think right now it's just like a smidgen too dark, just like right on the edge of too much. Cool. So let's bring this around town. Let's duplicate it, bring it on over to the other side of the house. Like there, something like that. Just a perspective on it a little bit. Bring it down. Yeah, like that, that's fine. So then we'll delete this. Get that crap out of here. Change the levels on it, because now it's, I guess it's fine. I think that's fine there. Yeah. Let's say the fence was here. Like let's say, because I'm looking at it, right? I'm just looking at the picture we have. The fence was, I'm assuming, all the way across. But then this log here, this log, whoops. There we go. This one right here kind of just fell in and destroyed it, and then snow piled over everything. So we'll add some more of this fence on this side as well. So like that. Yeah, like that. Kind of looks like it fell over, right? Cool. Okay, so we got these two going. Let's skip on over to a new narrative. What do we got? Let's go with, because you know the mood that I'm going for here is like kind of sad, right? Like some kind of just depressing emotional area or scene, right? Like an emotional scene in the movie or the game. So I need something with, you know, flavor, right? Something that's got some chutzpah. Maybe this one. Maybe this one would be cool, because this one has like a factory, it looks like, with this kind of entrance to it. So if we kind of fix that up a bit, there we go. So maybe the emotional scene here would be happening in one of these rooms, right? one of these here. Maybe the characters are up there. And then what ends up happening is, let's say so-and-so are talking to each other and then they die. You know, like they get stabbed. Something happens, right? So when they get stabbed, maybe it'll cut to like a view of the outside of the building, and then you can see through the window that there's action going on. Or maybe yeah, really, I mean that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I'm gonna go for. So I think that's probably the best idea for this kind of composition. I do want to adjust the elements that are going on, because right now it's kind of just like a boring building, right? It's like kind of, it's bleh. We need some, you know, some kind of power, some kind of something there to make you want to look at it. Something like, actually, you know what? Instead of that building, let's do something else. Let's do, oops. Let's do this one. Yeah. This one? No, not that one. There's a really long one that I got off of Matte Paint. There we go. This one. It's huge. So this one I like because it's out in the middle of nowhere, right? And it's got this cool kind of facility feeling to it. Like maybe there's doctors working here or something. So it would be cool if this was a movie about, you know, like The Thing, where they're out in the middle of Antarctic just hanging out. So you know, just hanging out and getting eaten by a creature that started inside of a dog. But let's figure out, maybe the scene here would be, I like this tilted trailer here. So maybe the scene here would be that these people are working alone out in the middle of nowhere, which means I need to get rid of that little church back here to sell the idea that this is out in Timbuktu. There we go. Content aware. Cool. So maybe they've set up camp here. So let's first off, let's get rid of this weird tripod thing. Let's get rid of that. Content aware. Thank you. And let's see what some tarps would look like here, because I mean, if they live here, right? Let's say it's like The Thing. This is like some kind of facility. So they're working here. They're living out of this base. There would be supplies. There would be I mean, obviously you got whatever this cat machine is, but there would be some kind of tarping around somewhere, like an awning covering supplies. And I've used that before. I've used tarping to show that there's actually stuff there when there's actually not. But I'm trying to figure out where it would go here. I think here would probably be the best idea. Something like that. And you know, it's tarp because it's keeping whatever underneath it is keeping dry. So let's kind of paint that over. And then darken it like that. Get some snow. Bring it on top here. Like that. And then kind of solidify that off a bit. Like that. Here we go. Yeah, so there's some kind of I don't know, supply, like a set of boxes and whatever else over here that they have tarped up, but they just don't want it to get soaked. Yeah. But what is the scene? What is the narrative here? And creating a narrative from scratch like this is kind of hard to do. Usually, you know, you have a script or some kind of description of what's going on. For this purpose of the stream, I don't have anything. So let's just figure it out as we go. Maybe this color would be cool. Something like that. That's interesting. So I did pin light, and it made this kind of like trailer across the street deal. So I wonder if maybe the scene here is that they are actually, there's some kind of abandoned town here, and they're living in it with a trailer. I just don't know. Yeah, we'll come back to this one. This one's got me a little bit perplexed on the direction that it should be going. I think I'm going to delete this part though. There we go. 'Cause I mean, that's looking cool, but it's not sad. You know, it's not. It's cold, but it's not sad. It doesn't have any emotion to it. This is a scene. We need emotion. We need grit. Let's go with numero 4. If I don't like the fourth, you know, the fourth one, I think honestly these top 2 are easily the contenders. But let's see. For the fourth one, we could try, if we take this and we use it. No, because that would be too zoomed out. That wouldn't give the narrative feel. We need that narrative. What do we got? Could go with maybe this one, because this one is part of that Slovakia pack. But I can't remember the name. I think it's like High Tabris or High Fabris. I don't know, something like that. So we could use this as a scene of this kind of snowy mountain scene. We got to zoom in a bit though, because obviously we're trying to make it about people talking, people chilling. Yeah, you know, chilling in the snow. I think probably like that would look cool, something like that. But then we need, I don't like clouds. Like, I understand they're in the mountain, etc., but I don't like that it's just a blue sky behind the clouds. There's no life to it. So let's try adding something back there. Maybe something like this. These mountains back here. Something like that. I think that works. Stretch it up a bit. Like that. Darken it. Too much. We need mountains back there. But how should we do it? Actually, this might look cool, honestly. If we not, I know it's the same house that we were doing up top, but if we use these kind of foggy mountains back here, maybe that'll work. Something like that. But I have to adjust it. It's like that. It's better, yeah. So now we get, instead of this feeling of it being like you just climbed Mount Everest to get up there in the Slovakian mountains, it now has this more down to earth kind of just like a hill with an abandoned building in it. And then since it's already a frozen building, it's got icicles hanging off, which is cool. I think this needs to be taken out though. This power line. And then this blue up here is annoying as crap. So let's get rid of that. There we go. Wait for it. Wait for it. Any second now. There we go. Dang it. Yeah, the problem is it's behind. So if we just paint over it with a neutral color, then that should bring out the mountain and trees pretty fine. Yep. Totally good. All good, dog. Well, good, dog. Let's fix this little bit of a wall here. It's kind of transparent. Something like that. Cool. But where is, well, I didn't even see the blue up here. Am I blind? There we go. So, but now we need, you know, emotion to what is this? What are we looking at? We're looking at, since we're zoomed in, it's really harder to set a scene. This is more of a scene that's already been established kind of feeling. So what we're looking at is maybe another apocalypse, like Last of Us situation, kind of apocalypse where they're living here, but the two characters that we have talking to each other might be on watch. So they're on the top of this building, just keeping watch for, you know, intruders, people trying to steal their supplies, snow zombies, you know, whatever. Where is that at? Is that this one? Yeah. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So it gives us this kind of feeling of like the Night Watch in Game of Thrones, where they're kind of just chilling out on top of the ice wall. So I like that. I think if we kind of mess with this top piece here, maybe? No. I like it being blue like that, but this has lines in it that I don't like, because it's actually the layer over it, so it's got the roads, you know, so it's creating these lines, and I'm just not a fan. Okay, so we could probably lighten this up a bit just to give us a bit of a sense of the depth, you know, because we got some kind of shadows and stuff with the rocks and the stairs. There we go. Lighten this bit up here. We want to not do midtones. I think shadows would probably be better since it's snowy, so it would have this kind of white haze to everything anyways. Cool. There we go. So now we need, because this guy taking a picture is exactly where I'm thinking one of the characters are going to be, right? So you got Picture Man, and then he's not going to stay Picture Man, but we're going to have him, and let's say like character B standing next to him, sort of just chilling. Yeah, like this. So that. And they're kind of just talking. Okay, yeah. I think there needs to be light though, you know, some kind of light here, but I'm not sure if there would be in this bottom right scene at least, because I mean, unless you put some glow in the windows here, something like that, but it wouldn't be all of them. So I'm gonna do, let's not paint with the female brush. There we go. So kind of want to just block out some of them. Maybe use a white to bring in some of that reflection. Something like that. It's not bad. But the question is it cool enough? And I don't think it is. I mean, it's cool. It's ice. But I don't think it's cool enough for what we're going for as far as a narrative. We could say that maybe these right two are actually in the same world and you know, same kind of apocalyptic area, and these are just different scenes, right? And we could go for that. That's totally fine. We could world build off of these two, but I think as far as for the point of creating a scene that has a narrative to it, but then also is cool enough for you guys to enjoy watching, because, you know, some scenes are just kind of bland just because it's like the composition's there, but really it's just two people talking, right? So I mean, where, you know, it's not really emotional, right? It's important, you know. It's you when you're watching a movie and people start talking to each other. Unfortunately, you have to watch people talk to each other. There's going to be points when that happens, but I think as far as a interesting element to show you how to make it, I think the top two are the best contenders. So we're gonna go ahead and just crop the bottom two out, like I did in the other ones and the other streams. No, not. What is wrong with you? Why hast thou forsaken me? There we go. So just crop these bottom two out. Something like, get that line fixed. This cut line right here always bothers me. There. There we go. So now we got these two going here. I think for this stream, oh boy, excuse me. That rain, man, I told you, it always makes me drained. All right. So I think for this stream though, instead of, because, you know, the other streams I keep cutting it down to one, right? We have to keep picking which one we're going to. I think instead of finishing one completely, I'm going to, I guess if I had to put a percentage on it, I'm going to do like 70% on both of these, because I keep saying it, but I'm not doing it in the streams, and it's better to show clients more than one sketch, right? But you don't want to leave it too sketchy. You want to get to a point where the idea is super easy to read, and it's, you know, it's there, but you don't want to render out too much to where all you're doing is just fixing details, you know? You want to make sure the client can read the idea, but then make sure it's clean enough to where it's almost done, right? In that range. So this is actually probably going to be a shorter stream, since I'm going to be doing these two to like 70% instead of being to what, 7 like I usually do. Well, 4 hours depending on whatever time zone you're in. Probably be like 3 hours instead. We're already at an hour in. If we do like an hour each, that should be about 3 hours, right? So just so that we have some variety, you know, instead of just sending person one sketch, you got to send them, I would, you know, send them more than 2, but I want to show you you know, how it works to go back and forth. You got to switch your brain. Instead of working on one piece and then you're all up in it and it's just getting it all perfectly and purty and clean, you got to keep jumping back and forth between the two, seeing what needs to be fixed, what doesn't, stuff like that. Is there a line there? No, it's not. Okay. Cool. So which one do we start with? We'll start with, I guess we'll start with the one on the left, because the one on the right has so much snow that there's not a whole lot of detail that needs to be added, because it's, you know, snow is just taking up a lot of the composition. We do need to fix the roof on the right, and of course make the windows and stuff more real, but I think the left is the one that needs the most damage control at the moment. So let's start with the left one. Let's go with, I'm gonna go to my forest pack here because I have a huge library of references that I've just accumulated over years, and it's a mix of, you know, matte paint pictures, and then just pictures from all over the place. So we need more tree, and I think Yosemite would be the good one to have because they have a bunch of pine trees like this area seems to have. So let's try something with pine trees, something but misty. This is looking cool. I like this whole bit. Maybe like this one? This one? Let's try this one. This one's cool. Just kind of zoom in a bit. Do like that. Darken it. It's a lot of tree though, so it might cover up too much of the composition, which it does, but we can kind of erase that if we just select the farm, the mask, not the Jim Carrey mask, even though that's a phenomenal movie. Yeah, some of these photos are really cool. I have no idea where they were taken though. I mean, it's definitely not Florida, but yeah, most of my pictures I have labeled from where they're from just so I can keep an idea. But besides these ones that say Yosemite, but the ones I started with, I have no idea where they're from. I haven't the slightest idea. Yeah, see, that's looking cool. It adds this kind of, instead of the mountain scene, it adds a forest behind it. But honestly, I don't know. I think we might keep the mountain scene in there a little bit. So kind of just bring that back in just a smidgen. Something like that. Kind of gently erase. You don't want to erase too much and then have this weird mask issue. So kind of just gently smear that in there. I don't like that part back there though. That needs to go. Okay. So before and after. Honestly, I think it's better without the trees. The problem is this freaking faded area right here on the left is really bothering me. So let's find something to fix that Yosemite style. Maybe these trees? These trees could work. Yeah, I think these might work. Let's try these. Just darken it. Set it up a little bit because they're kind of too small. So like that. Even has this little river, which is cool. I don't know if we're going to keep that, but we'll see what it looks like. Because you always got to experiment, my dudes. You got to figure out what looks cool by accident. And then later on, when you're asked to make something look cool, you already know what kind of works. And then they're like, wow, how did you know that would work? And then you're like, because I'm just legit, fam. Alright, so none of that stupid rambles go over. I like this river. This river's cool, but it doesn't set the scene of the snowy farm, you know? It sets more of like a swampy kind of area. So I think we'll get rid of that. That's fine. It's no biggie. Ta-da, it's gone. So keep that out. The trees look better now. Yeah, I think the trees are fine. We just need to change the color of them. So hue and saturation. I usually do color balance, but since they're all kind of one color, doesn't really matter. I think actually the blue is fine. They just need to be less saturated. Yeah, that's what it is. So about there-ish. It's fine. Let's go ahead and content aware that area. Bring some trees. Well, you know, content aware decides to do its thing. There we go. Yeah, it's better. So we got this area going on here. It's looking cool. This is a bit dark right there. Don't like that. Let's fix that. There we go. So I think it's looking cool. Turn them into postcards. Wish you were here in my rundown apocalyptic house. Yeah, that would be interesting though. I mean, that would be kind of a cool thing though. Postcards with like game concept art on it, you know, or movie concept art, not just an illustration. That would be cool. I'm down for that. It'd be better than the usual Florida postcards that has like some kind of gator with sunglasses on it, tanning on the beach. Oh, it's ridiculous. Let's add more trees, I think. Yeah, like right there. These right here. Perfect. That worked perfectly in the first try. It's always the best when that happens. Delete everything else. Boom. Boom. Okay. That was just really exciting because usually it takes like 16 tries to get it right. So that's looking cool. I think the bottom piece, the bottom part with all the wood now needs to be fixed. So to do that, I think we might just paint it in. Might be easier. So picturing in my head what this all looks like, we got you would have some kind of post here. The fence would go that way, like that. Then it would have, you'd have this fence sort of like that. Let's cut it off here though. There we go. But then I'm just thinking in my head, if this is like some kind of farm, then you would have a corral, right? There would be some kind of enclosed fence area that's not the walkway. So there would be another fence a bit over that way that connects like that ish, something like that. And then you would want to cut out this front beam just so we can see the difference between these two fences. There we go. Cool. So okay, you would have that, and then you would have to get rid of the in-betweens of the fence, obviously. So I'm just picturing in my head, by the way. This is not, you know, I'm not going to use this mask to paint with because it's just a solid image. I'm just thinking in my head how this fence works. And I think Also, I started thinking in my head. I don't know what else. I guess if you're thinking in your stomach when you're starving, and then you get too much food, and then you sit there and you regret it, but then at the same time you don't regret it. Yeah, that looks fine. It's not an even fence post. It's not like it's mathematically decided. But I don't like one of these. I think it's this one. Is it that one? Yeah, I don't like that one. And then this one too. I don't like this. Whoops. I don't like this one either. Get rid of that one. Bring one here. Like that. Cool. So then we have our post here. But that means that now we need to add this corral area, which would be a bit like this kind of thing. And then it would go a bit of an angle and probably this way. Like that. You want to make it smaller on the edge because it's further away. Cool. Cool. It's that picture of Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. And it's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. There we go. So then we'll fix that. And this is going to be, whoops. And again, this is, you know, not going to be photo real. This is going to be like a implied fence, you know, so you don't really have to worry about it being so perfect. This is more about, like in this scenario, if I had to compare it to like a real work environment kind of thing, then what would happen is you would be given the storyboards, or if you had to create storyboards, then you already know, but sometimes you're just given the storyboards, right? So you have this list of sketches and they're all different scenes, but then they need you to go to each storyboard and finish it up, right? You got to clean it up, but it doesn't have to be promotional style, right? Yeah, the poison specifically chosen to poison Cusco. That poison. Exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about. So yeah, so they would send you like a list of thumbnails, right? Or if you made them yourself, you would already have access to them. But you would have to go to each one of those thumbnails, and then you would have to kind of flesh them out a bit. So this would be a fleshed out version, right? Like this is, when we finish this is going to be like not perfect. It's not going to be like the cyberpunk ones where it's kind of rendered out. It's going to be kind of, I don't want to say sketchy because it's not a sketch, but it'd be kind of implied more than usual, just because of, you know, you don't really need to flesh it out because it's just for the storyboarding to hang up on the wall or whatever, right? That's going on, something like that. It's not promotional, you know. It's, you don't have to worry about somebody selling this as a piece by itself. So we want it to be dark, but we don't want it to be black. We want to have some kind of brown to it. It is snowy though. That's good. It is snowy though, so you want to add some of that roof color because the roof is reflecting kind of the sky, and then the snow reflects the color of the sky. Same thing. So let's add some snow in here. Just a little bit though. You don't want it to be overpowering, and you definitely don't want it to be on the post legs. You want it to be just on the top, I guess is the word I'm trying to think of. Scientific word. The top. Yeah, there we go. So that is pretty solid. I think we might add a horse in here, which I don't have horse references. So you're gonna find out how I handle animals that I don't actually have a reference to. But before we get to that, let's do the posts on the other side, because it's before and after, right? We got something going on here. There we go. So this post. How does this work? We want to keep the composition going towards this walkway, towards the door, because we have character A and then character B is like, whoa, I haven't seen you in like 3 minutes. I'm really upset and I'm sad. It's been so long, but I'm also happy. Whatever. And then or maybe it's character A went with a group and the only person coming back is character A, and so now character B is like, oh no, my baby's daddy's dead, and it's like, oh. Why does this always happen? So, classic Walking Dead kind of return home to base deal. We want to keep that composition though, but we also want to have a reasonable wooden post here. So let's kind of just draw the outline of the post, what it all touches. Everything the light touches is yours. So let's figure that out. Here, I'm assuming that's the post. I think the post might actually continue this way more. You know what? Actually, yeah. So let's make the post go. Let's delete all this. Let's make the post go this way. Like that. I guess like that. And then you want to. So we got this post going this way. So then you want to have the top of it kind of follow the same direction. But it would go like that. Okay. And then this would be, that's a beam. So then this would kind of go like this. Like that. Yeah, alright. So then beam here. Beam here. Just make it more straight. That was a tilted beam. There we go. Sounds like a band. Tilted beam. I keep coming up with band names while I'm doing these streams. Alright, so then beam here. And probably one here. A little bit fatter because it's closer. Like that. Then you want beam in this corner. Beam in this corner. Well, that's not a corner, but yeah. Continue. Beam there. Beam there. Beam here. And then continue it going down like that. Something like that. A little bit further down. And then maybe a fatter one here. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing. Kind of paint it in. Paint it in with like a darker color just to get the shadows layered in. And then paint over it with this kind of lighter brown. There we go. And then the lighter brown. And then start throwing some of that snow over there, which you want it to be on top. So we got some of this kind of purpley snow shadow going on. And then like that. Oh. I guess like that. And then we'll bring some of this kind of blue or highlight over into it. There we go. Put it on top of the beams. Like that. Then we'll want to bring some implied top to these beams, which is very easy to do. You just put it like if there was a top there, and then your brain fills in that there is one there, even though there's not. You can go in and shadow underneath it if you want to make it fit in more, but most of the time you don't really have to. You have to do it right here though, because it blends in. And here, here, Do the same over here for these beams. So like that. There. There. Maybe one. Well, probably just do like that. And then one here. No. Just put a line there. And same here, same there. Cool. Sweet. So I do think if we take this piece right here and mess with it, we can make it like a fence. Well, obviously there's a freaking fence, like a gate. There we go. So we could have like a gate here. To do that though, I'm just gonna paint that in because that'd be easier if I just roughly sketch that in there, like a open gate of some sort, and put the snow on top of it. Let's fix that up. Bada bing, bada boom. Cool. Cool. It's working. It's working. You want to have some snow on the hinges of the door, probably. Or the fence. Gate. Thank you. Jeez. This rain's messing up my brain. Alright. So we got the gate. We got this kind of laid out corral set up now, right? We need to fix this little bit of the grass here. Looks weird. Same thing over here. Bring in some of that orange, green, dark blue stuff. There we go. There. Yeah, it's looking cool. So we got a layout now. We got an actual visual idea of the way everything flows. So now we need... What do we need? I think the right side needs to be fixed a little bit. So the... First off, let's duplicate... What? Duplicate. There we go. Jeez. Not duplicate. Merge. So now we have our little checkpoint. We'll content aware this area a bit. See what it comes up with. There we go. Cool. So it kind of did exactly what I wanted it to do. It cleaned up the bottom a little bit, but it kept these little weird artifacts. So let's fix those. Like that. We also need to fix this grassy kind of hanging over bit here. Overgrowth. There we go. We want to fix that a little bit. Right now it's too dark. So it's an easy fix. Just if we just take this kind of background haze color, bring it down, and just paint over it real quick. Just lightly. Kind of brings it down. We want to fix this up a bit. I'm still at 30% because I'm a freaking dweeb. There we go. So we want to fix that. Doo-ba-da-doo-doo. Fix some of that. Fix all of that. It's very riveting commentary. Fix this, fix that. So, yeah, so all that's looking cool. It's looking nice. I'm gonna fix some of this wood coming through. Maybe even grab some of this grass and make like a vine here. Still too dark. There we go. Something like that. And then they might even have like a pulley system here, which would kind of it's like when you try to get something on the second floor of a barn, you need like a little bit of pulley setup, you know? So then you could have some rope hanging down. But then there might be some snow on the wheel of the pulley, depending on exactly how the wind blows. There's definitely some snow on this back piece of the roof you want to put on. Some snow would be here on this ledge. Anything that sticks out, really. Anything that has like an actual view to the sky would have some snow on it. So even like some pieces of the wood that are not perfectly flush would have some snow on them. And then kind of want to just throw in some more value there. This stuff, though, I don't think would have much snow on it, simply because of the fact that it's got this little awning on the side of the roof. So it kind of blocks this area a little bit, which is fine. It's totally fine. Doesn't mess with the narrative or anything. So that's cool. Let's fix this up a bit. It needs to be more black. And then we'll kind of just throw in some broken windows here, just for some character, you know? And for broken windows, it's always cool to have some kind of structure, you know? Don't just put broken chips around the corners, because, I mean, if you broke a window, yeah, the chips are going to remain. But if it's a window that has, like, a frame, you know? Like, either, like... Here, I'll just draw it. If a window looks like this... like that, which is what I'm thinking this one would look like. Or if a window looks like this, there we go, then you don't want to put just like chips of broken grass. Dang it. You don't want to put chips of broken glass around just the edges, you know, like this kind of thing, because it's very uniform. I mean, even though they are broken, you're still trying to make it look like it's not it's not man-made, like it's an accident, like the glass just broke in a random glass pattern. Well, if there's a frame, then what ends up happening is glass that breaks doesn't affect the other glass. So let's say this glass broke just because of, I don't know, age, weather, maybe at some point something hit it. But if it only hit, say, frame top left, right, then that frame would be broken, or that glass would be broken and have like some chips remaining maybe that are stuck in the frame. But then the rest of the glass would be totally fine. The rest of the glass would just be perfectly fine. It'd be dirty, you know, because of age and everything like that, so you got to make it all fit, but it's not going to be the whole square is broken, right? This one that I'm doing right now, what I'm picturing is maybe the bottom piece was broken, the biggest piece, and then the rest are still just totally fine, just dirty. So like that. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see. But, yeah, just a little random glass fact on how to paint glass that is broken. Windows, at least. So, let's chip this up a bit. You want to add some of the snow in there because if wind blows. And then also the glass itself is reflective. The frame would match the color of the barn. But it would be darker. So you want it to be something like that. There's a bit of a shadow going on. Just a bit of a darkness to everything here because it's this weird snowy haze going on. So let's do like that. Put that in there. Fix some of this up a bit. This texture on the farm is cool because it adds this like construction scaffolding over it, but I don't know, might get rid of it. I think it would also look cool if you could see through this window and on the inside there was a hint of another window that was just back there doing its thing, which perspective wise would still have to follow the barn, but now instead of doing this wall of the barn, you're doing that wall. So you gotta keep the window going with that perspective. So let's do that. Let's do something like that, I guess. Yeah. Maybe throw in some of this tree color back there. Maybe if I make it bigger? No, I think the problem is that realistically you wouldn't be able to see the window. And even though it is cool that it's a narrative, like you could have the window visible, but unless there's some kind of like crazy sun ray coming through, this snow, just by camera wise, this snow would silhouette and make the entire scene super dark. So anything in this barn you probably wouldn't see. Which means illustration wise, we need to keep in mind that this window is a little bit bland just because we can't put anything in it. So let's kind of fix that up a bit. Something like that. And then snow on the bottom pieces. And then on the windowsill itself. Like that. Maybe some snow here. And here. And here. Oh, here's a perfect example I was talking about. I didn't even see that, but this window, one of the panes, there we go. One of the panes is broken, but the other 3 are totally fine. So, I mean, you know, just the way it goes. The frame kind of just holds together the broken pieces. So, let's fix some of this. Just kind of throwing that in there. I'm not throwing it in there randomly though. I'm still following the path of the barn wood panels. I just want to get rid of that kind of vague darkness that was there. There. And then kind of keep that red going. But desaturate it a bit. Just kind of blend it all in there. Something like that. Maybe throw some of that on the rest of the wood here. Some of this weird tan color. Just kind of mix it up. Add some variety. Okay. So I'm looking at this, and I think as far as, you know, sketching goes, right? Because this is something that, like I said, I'm not going to fully flush these out. I'm just going to do these two as like if you want to say mood sketches, right? These would be more of just key art paint overs of the thumbnails or the storyboarding. So I think really for this left one, the only thing we'd have to add would be the characters. Think so? Yeah. And then we'll also fix these leaves up here that don't make any sense. Just for refinement. That one, some of that. Get rid of the freaking leaf. There we go. So then, delete that one because it's duplicated. Boom. So let's just do like a little rough continue this panel here in the middle, just because it kind of just ends, even though it wouldn't do that. There we go. Cool. So then, all right. So then we need to do the characters. So to do the characters, you just have to paint them in. We can either, actually the horse, that's right, I totally forgot about the horse. We were gonna have a little horsey do on the left. I think if we add the animals on the right, the same ones, to this one, we could probably make them fit that right corral as well. So let's bring those animals back. Where are they at? Where art thou? They're there. So these guys. So if we just bring them here, a little bit bigger. And then maybe it's just an idea. We can paint it in if this doesn't work, doesn't matter. So it would do darken, bring the levels down on the midtones, just to really give them some kind of value compared to everything else. Delete. There we go. Yeah, then we could do something like that. I don't like them being black like that. So what if we change the color of them? Huh. You know what? I think they're fine as long as we throw snow on them. I think it'll be fine. Whoops. So let's do that. Delete. There we go. And then if we throw some snow on top of them, because even though they are moving, they're outside. And if there is snow falling, then that means they would have definitely got some on them. They're also walking around, so snow would stick to the fur. It's just one of those being a cute little farm animal lifestyles. Okay. We'll add some, this highlight back to the posts. Like that. There we go. Maybe over here too. Throw some back here. There we go. Cool. Excuse me. Man. Alright, so we got that going. So now let's bring the characters and the horse. Keep forgetting about the horse. So I think I have some pictures of horses. If I go to my animals, farm. I have one horse picture. Boy. I'm sure that'll work. Is it a Clydesdale? It is a Clydesdale, so that makes sense too, because it's snow. It's like cold, so Clydesdales have this like bell-bottom pants. Thanks, Alexandro. Alexandro is one of those. Thank you. I think it'd be better if the horse was facing. Do we want the horse facing the character, or do we want it facing away from the character? I think facing the character would be a better idea. But Clydesdales are freaking huge. I don't know if you've ever seen one. In person, at least. They're massive, little. They're thick boys, let me tell you. So, let's go ahead and mask them out. Not super well. Just enough to get the general idea of the horse. Okay. So then, something like that. Whoops. Delete that. Delete that a little bit. I'm gonna keep that jaw in there. And then follow the mane a little bit better. Oh, what character do you like to play? Oh, I'm horse mane. Put that one. I'm gonna write that one down. All right, so there we go. So Control-Shift-I, delete everything else. Keep the horse. Take the levels, adjustment, levels. Bring them down. You don't want it to be super dark, but you want it to be dark enough to fit the rest of the scene. So something like that. And just kind of keep him to scale, but I don't know where he's gonna go. Let's try there, I think might be cool. Maybe at the edge. I think right there actually might be cool too. Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll do transform, perspective, get his butt Make it a little bit bigger. Just a little bit though. And then something like that. Cool. So now we'll take the mask tool, whichever one you want to use, lasso tool, and we're going to mask out the wooden beam. So that sneezed messed up my brain. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do the beam like that, and then here, there. Okay. And then here. That. Delete. So now he's behind the beam. He's just chilling. We want to kind of darken him a bit because he is still a little too bright to be hanging out in this place. Fix that, that's all good. The ground needs to be darker. So if we take the midtones, bring them down a bit, and then that kind of thing, there we go. Cool. So now, horses in the corral don't usually have the saddle on them. You got to saddle up when you go to ride them, stuff like that. So you want to just leave him kind of butt naked, but fix. He's got some junk in his trunk. All right, so let's fix the snow not being on him. So let's grab some of that white that's on him, just his normal horse color, right? And we'll kind of just bring that on the top a little bit, just to add a little bit of a highlight. You don't want to do it all the way around him because it's going to create a weird illustrated look. There we go. Also do filter facet, filter sharpen, or sorry, filter pixelate facet. It'll help turn the horse details a little bit down, because you can see here the difference between facet and unfacet. That's normal, and then with facet, kind of helps them fit more into the painting. It's got a bit of a weird nose. There we go. Cool. So now we'll also grab some of that rough mask leftovers. And on his booty. There we go. There we go. So now we got some more color into him. We need to add some snow on him. He wouldn't be super snowy, you know, like if he was standing still for too long, he would be like a frozen statue, probably, with just snow covered all over the place. But generally the tail's moving, you know, so the tail doesn't really have snow on it. The rump is vibrating every time he steps, so snow would just fall off of it. Same thing with his shoulders, but his neck area would probably have something on it, just because it doesn't. The bottom of the neck, not the towards the head, obviously. Head might have some, but the neck would probably have the most, because the neck and the back don't really twist or move that much with a horse. Or, you know, at least enough to stabilize, but not enough to keep snow off of it. So, something like that. It's looking cool. I think he might even, won't have the saddle on him. But if this guy that owns this place is not a jerk, he would at least have some kind of, like, rug over him. Maybe one of the guys, you know, character B, gave him a rug to keep him warm. And just for narrative purposes, we can have it red to kind of match the barn, to make it seem like this is all part of the same ownership, you know? You don't want it to be super red, because it'd just take too much attention away from it. Something like that. But then it's a rug, so it's gonna have snow on it for one. So we'll just bring some snow on there, something like that. Okay, and then not only does it have snow on it, but it's a rug, and rugs generally have like weird patterns on them. So you want to paint those patterns in there, something like that, and then some squiggles to indicate corner geometry that rugs usually have, something like that. Then you know, just kind of make a rug design, but imply it, because you don't want to spend a lot of time making sure this rug reads correctly. There we go. It's looking cool. I think instead of it being red, it might be cooler if it was more of a brown. Oh, that's just gonna change everything. Actually, I think it might be cool red, just less saturated. Might be the problem. Something like that. A little bit desaturated. Yeah. Looks cool. There is a weird line that I just noticed that is in the farm barn house itself, which is creating a weird unicorn effect. So we'll get rid of that. There we go. So now the horse stands out fine. We also want to help the horse stand out a little bit because, you know, even though it's not a character, it is still part of the character's persona to the horse. So let's push behind him away. So if we just go to layer below him and kind of, that's too much, grab some of this sky color, kind of just push some of this stuff away like that. Like that. There we go. So yeah, you can see just on the horse side, you can see how much pushing it back kind of helps him stand out more, which is nice. Cool. So now we'll do a lead, probably. I don't know if you would lead the horse in the snow. I feel like that's kind of messed up. But just in case maybe he just arrived, you would probably lead him. So you would have a lead, which is like this piece of leather that goes over the mouth of the horse and then has these kind of like reins that come down, and you would just tie it to the post like that, and then like that, put some snow on it, kind of blend it in. Yeah, so now he's kind of tied in there, you know, so he doesn't run away. You dastardly horse. All right, so now the characters, we can put those in there. One is going to be walking, but the other one is standing still. So I made this. I made a few people brushes, but I made this one based on Noah Bradley's photo pack, one of his 1,000. And what I did is I just cut him out. But what that does is it makes it where you can just plan it, Control Shift Inverse, fill that in, and now you have a character walking, right? You just have to put clothes on, which is fine. So I don't know, should be here. Should it be closer to the camera? No, because the horse is there. We'll put him like in the middle, somewhere where he belongs. And that's a Clydesdale. It's a big boy horse, but you want to keep the scale relative to the area, something like that. All right. So That's character 1. Character 2 is a dude just chilling out in the barn, freaking out because he's like, oh my god, my Amazon package has arrived. Okay, so he would be, this is all, yeah, he would be chilling here, doing his thing. Something like that. And then this guy would have poofy jacket, right? Because he's in the cold. So he would be kind of loaded up with like one of those fur hoodies, you know? Something like that. And then he would have pants on with boots and whatever else. I think his arm is all jacked up though. Let's get that out of there. Well, let's keep it, but move it in closer. What is wrong with you and your elbow? Fix that. And then bring his entire arm in more. Yeah, that's fine. So now we need to add some jacket material. You know, he's like a big old winter coat with the cool fur hoodies that we never get to wear here in Florida. But then the preppy, like in high school, the preppy girls always wore them, even though it's like 100 degrees outside. They're sweating, but they're wearing these thick fur coats with Uggs. It's just always really funny. Alright, so now he's got this coat on, which is fine. And you can see that I didn't really do any designing of the coat or anything. It's just more of the silhouette. It's kind of hard to see because of the barn behind him, so let's push that back. Screen, about 30-ish, probably a little bit less. And then, again, grab that sky color. Just kind of push it back a little bit to help him stand out somewhere. Something like that, but it's a little bit too much. Let's bring it down. Yeah, like that. So now you get this kind of snowy effect over everything. Let's push this side back too. Add some more distance. So now we can kind of just, you know, imply his jacket, right? Imply this $400 North Face jacket. Let's get rid of this stuff. There we go. So it's this one. Yep. All right. So transparency lock. This button right here makes it where you just can't paint anywhere but the character, right? Like but the layer that you've selected. So since he has his fur coat though, we're gonna emphasize the neck area having snow on it because it's a fur coat. That's where most of it would probably end up. He would also have it on his shoulders and maybe a little bit on his boots, on his pants, just from walking in the snow. Then we want to have like probably like a dark blue color, something like that, on for the jacket. So we'll kind of just darken that up, bring that in, do like that. And kind of just render that jacket in a little bit. Not too much, not too much, not too little, not too much. Okay, jacket's in. We can also, we could go in and make it look like flannel if we wanted to, but I think if we just, oh. I just had a weird power fluctuation there, but I think we're okay. The stream's still going. Wi-Fi's still going. I think we're good. Wait on my tablet to restart. And then wait. We good? Okay, I think we're good. All right. So, now if we dang it. I bet you doing that messed up my tablet settings. So, pen settings. Is it pen settings? No, pen calibration. And then, yeah, that needs to go up there. There we go. And then excuse me while I deal with a deal with the fact that a power surge just kind of jacked up my settings real quick. Uno momento, por favor. So, pin calibration. Yep. That's what I want, but why are you going down? Gotta calibrate. What is this? The Nintendo DS? Yeah, well, that was easy. Yeah. Okay, cool. Coolio. All right. Cool. So, back to what we were doing, you know, before the weird power surge messed up everything. All right, so now we got this guy's pants. So let's do. We got this kind of. That's right. I was working on the flannel. So if you just kind of draw some lines and then cross them a little bit, kind of adds this flannel feel to it. Ned Flanders. Ned Flannel? Ned Flanders. Right, got it. So, there we go. We want to actually remove the mask just so we can kind of fluff up the helmet a bit, you know? Or the helmet, the hood, because it is a floofy hood. Got some floof to it. Okay. And in the pants, probably grab some of this like faded red or this brown. Yeah, the brown works. Throw some brown in there. And then kind of just add some generic wetness to it, you know, because it's snow. So there's going to be, even if there isn't directly snow on him, it's going to have some kind of dampness to the whole piece. So let's do like that. Okay. And then get out of that. And yep, cool. So then we'll kind of have his feet go off camera a little bit. He's on the way there. He does need hair for one. So give him some hair. Nice little toupee. Cool. The ear can be fixed because right now it's a little bit elfy. There we go. And would he have? Question is, would he have like a hoodie on? Or I mean, not the hoodie, but the like a beanie, since it's so cold. Would he do that, or would he care? Let's see. Let's bring some skin color in there. A bit darker. Like that. And then kind of looks like just from behind he kind of looks like with this haircut specifically, this right here looks like on Avatar, The Last Airbender, the guy that the goofball of the show, I can't remember his name. That's what he looked like. Okay. And then he's got like a mullet. But if this is like an apocalypse situation, then he would probably have hair all out the wazoo. Because I'm sure a lot of us are feeling that issue now. Okay. So he's got this like Daryl Dixon from Walking Dead kind of hair. Would he have a beanie is the question. Let's see what it looked like if he had a beanie. That's a little big. Does he need a beanie? I think a beanie works. So it also adds more elements for us to add snow to, because you can just kind of put snow on the beanie itself. He wouldn't have snow in his hair. His hair might be a little bit frozen if he was sweating and it was all wet, but he wouldn't have snow in his hair. But the beanie, however, would absolutely have snow in it. So you could do it like that. Yeah, it's not bad. So, got this guy. Might need a backpack. Maybe he was traveling. If he was traveling and he needs a backpack, then it would look like probably something like this. Well, it's more like here, this middle of his back. Maybe we could put like a sleeping bag sticking off the side, and then of course strap it on like that. There we go. So that kind of thing. And then of course that would have its own snow on it as well. But do I like the backpack or no backpack? I think no backpack would be fine. I think that's fine the way it is. We'll just add some snow at the bottom of his jacket. Not snow, but like snow color, since it would be kind of wet, a little bit damp. Okay, so now we need to fix this lady over here. I'm assuming it's a lady. Okay, so she's silhouetted because she has this kind of torch lighting behind her, which I guess we could add that later and through the windows, which we will, but right now let's focus on her. So what does she need? She needs her own jacket. She's probably warm, but it's still, she would need some kind of jacket, right? Let's kind of poof her up a bit. She's got like a collar with a jacket. Okay, and then she wouldn't really have any color since she's silhouetted. So let's just do like some faint value on her, like a gray. Yeah. So like that. So that. She have her hood up? Nah. I think the hood's down. The laces are out. There we go. She's got this kind of open jacket seam going. She's just chilling. And then she's like, whoa! The mailman. Cool. Looking good. From a far away distance, it looks fine. Let's add something like some kind of value on her face. Doesn't have to be much, just enough to make it look like she has a face. Something like that. Okay. Right now the jacket's got this little... Jacket seems to be a little bit of a greaser jacket, so it's gonna bring down that collar. There we go. Okay, so now we need to add the orange glowness stuff to these windows. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is not going to be a fully fleshed out image. Something like that. And then here. Like that. Okay. And then maybe just a slight hint up here in this faded window area. Since it is a barn, so light could travel up there just a little bit. Okay, and then we'll do some color dodge. Color dodge is fine. But instead of this soft brush, we use the textured brush just to add a little bit of consistency to the rest of the piece. Okay, and then just a little bit coming through here. Yeah, like that. I don't like this window in the middle, so I'm just gonna fix that real quick. Kind of just paint that out. Make it look like wood. There we go. Okay. Cool, so there's our, narrative. We could probably go ahead and merge these. We'll duplicate and then merge. We can probably adjust the levels on it a little bit. If we bump up the I don't know if highlights, no, midtones probably. Yeah, if we bump up the midtones about where the character is walking, maybe behind the horse a bit, and in the back like that. And then if we color dodge some of this orange, really low though, you don't want it to be anything noticeable. You just want to kind of help that light seem like an actual light, so it's kind of glowy. Okay, like that. The orange behind the lady is a little bit plain. It's a little bit boring. So you want to add, if you don't grab it, there we go. You want to add just like wooden beams implied in there. So something like this. Something like that. There we go. So she's got some kind of actual structure behind her now instead of it just being an orangeness to it. So like that. And then this would have directional wood on it. Like that. Same with this door. Cool. And as always, if you select the whole thing and then just do like auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color, just to get like an idea, you know. No. Auto contrast, maybe. Auto contrast does show that if it's a little bit brighter, it looks cooler. Auto color sucks. So let's do let's just bring up the brightness a little bit, just a little bit. Not a whole lot. Yeah, so something like that. Just, you know, just a little bit of brightness. Yeah. So as far as, you know, storyboarding, sitting a narrative, sketch, whatever, this is a good one. That's, you know, that's enough to know what's going on in the scene. Whenever it comes to, you know, promotional stuff, or like say you want to set the concept art to be unlocked in the game, you know, sometimes they'll ask you to completely flesh it out, render it out, stuff like that. Since it is so bright though, I think this orange needs to be dull, more dull. Like that. And then, yeah, it's cool. All right. Let's kind of bring this orange down a little bit, just so it doesn't look too much. You know, there's too much of it right now. It's kind of dull it down. Something like that, and then bring that structure idea back in there. There we go. And we can grab some of these colors. It's like purple, cool color. Bring it into the wood a little bit. Something like that. There we go. Yeah, so I mean, I would call that like a solid sketch to send in, or if it was like a storyboard thing, then that would be like a solid paint over to get everything to fit together. Let's get rid of that piece that I keep forgetting about. Nope. What are you grabbing? Oh, he's grabbing the window. Why are you grabbing the window? Now you're grabbing his hood because it's so close. Let's do that. Come on, content aware. I believe in you. That's the thing about content aware, man. It's fickle. It's a fickle mistress. Alright. Let's just paint that out a little bit. Just like that. And then continue this line all the way down. Which, I'm gonna turn my hand weird. Josh, you can rotate the canvas. I know I can rotate the canvas. I just don't like to do that, because then you have to rotate it back and it takes time, and I'm not a fan of anything that takes too much time for no reason. So I just, you know, I'll just get that weird hand motion going on. That weird, when it comes to painting lines at angles, it's just quicker. There. Cool. So then we can leave that one. So now let's go to mood number 2. Which is what? Which I also just noticed when I grabbed those animals. I think I threw it over the layer, so This is why checkpoints come in handy, because I just noticed a layer, I made a mistake. But if I turn off everything, I can see that it's in one of these layers. I think it's this one. Yep. So what we'll do is we'll just delete that. Any second. There we go. So now that's gone. And then we can turn on all these layers again. Grab this one. And we know now that if we delete this part, it's going to show the layer beneath. And see, problem solved. Didn't have to go through 15 layers trying to find the right one. I could tell just between these two checkpoints where that problem layer was. And then I've got it. I'm good. Good to go. So, for this one, we need to add some more life to it. But what do we add? Also, that just happened to look back. That snow is a little too bright. Let's kind of dull that down. There. Okay. So for this one, what do we add? We need, maybe the narrative for this is this family lives here. Maybe maybe mom's inside cooking, or doing whatever in this apocalypse. She's in charge with refilling the guns. But then maybe dad and son are outside dealing with the animal crap. And I don't mean literal animal crap, but probably animal crap. So maybe the dad and son are tending to the farm animals while the mom is chilling inside the house doing the house stuff. But if that is the case, then what are they doing? Because this would be a scene in the movie, like the dad and the son are talking, like maybe the dad and mom had a fight, and it was just like, this is an apocalypse, but there are still standard dramas that happen, right? So mom and dad had a fight. Dad's like, come on, boy, we need to tend to the animals. So then they vominos, they go outside. Mom's inside fuming, dad's outside fuming, but instead of being upset about it, he's going to take it out on just doing work, instead of just sitting there being irritated. He's going to actually just go work on the animals because it's something to relax him, I guess. So let's try maybe the son is feeding the animals and the dad is working on chopping down this log that's in the way, because now this log's fell over on their fence. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it could be they fought. It could be also that maybe there was a storm, blizzard, right? And this tree fell, jacked up their fence, which means now they've got a problem with, I don't know, creatures, zombies, whatever, sneaking into the house. So they need to clear that out. So the narrative of this story would be them, dad and son talking while working on stuff. Something just to progress the story. It's not like it's a scene in the movie, but it's not going to be like a major broad scale of what's going on. It would just be kind of this, whatever these people are doing. So as far as adding detail goes, this house is kind of fine by itself. I think first we'll duplicate and then merge these two and make a new checkpoint. There we go. So I think if we first content aware that line out, it's good. And then maybe something in the background that's not just so empty. I mean, I like the emptiness to it. So if that's what we end up with, then that's what we're going to end up with. But maybe this is like an outskirts of a town. So something like a town, which would be, I had a picture for this exact reason because I found it and I was like, that looks cool and I can use that. This one, maybe this little, what, like a paper town, paper mill situation going on. Just put that in the back. Maybe zoom in some more. Just kind of like that. And then we can paint below it. Just mask it in. Doesn't have to be a perfect mask, just enough to where we can see what's going on. Okay. And we'll grab some of this darker grayish blue in the background. Just kind of push everything in. And then select inverse, delete. Well, on the right layer, delete. And then go ahead. I don't like this. I don't like this piece right here. Let's get rid of that. So let's make the levels lower. You want to take those midtones and adjust. But then you want to bump it up so it's kind of faded. And then take this level. Oops. Levels. And then bump these up. Just so they are in the background. A little bit more. Go. Merge. And we can kind of see what we're working with here. We flatten it down. Put it like there. Select that. Let's keep that in there. Let's kind of just get this snowy ground back in here. And then transparency lock. You want to kind of just snow this place up quite a bit. Like that. Some there. And I'm just being really rough with this because I don't know if this is going to look good. I think it will. But if it doesn't, then I'm just going to scrap it. So I'm just being kind of vague with how I'm roughing it up. And I'm looking, and I'm not a fan of it because it takes away the abandoned, like the empty feel, you know, that kind of depressing feel that we were trying to go for. So let's just add the dad and the son, and then do some cleanup on the house. I think back here in the distance, you really don't need much. I think that's really fine. All right, yeah. So just go. Let's just start figuring out the characters. So I'll start with black, just because I can mask it out later and then raise the levels up. Let's say dad is working on the tree. So dad would have like this kind of position. With the axe. Like that. But then he's a little, there we go, a little wonky. There we go. So then you'd have him kind of just chopping away with this axe. I don't know if I want him in the mid swing, you know, like that with the axe, or if I want him holding the axe off to the side like a cool dude. Yeah, I don't know. I think that works fine. He's a little bit tall. There we go. And we can go ahead and Fix up his head a little bit. It's a little bit sharp. Looking like Conehead. There we go. So, we got him with this axe, which should be red. That'd be like a good focal point, you know, for the scene. Make the red fire axe. But obviously not that bright. So, it would be like this kind of wood shade for the axe. But then it would have this red. It's like the axe on the other side over here. So like that. So then it would have this kind of red tip to it. I'm gonna fix this animal a bit. There we go. Cool. So now the axe, back to that, would have this kind of dark red. Not the tip, but the head is red. The tip being red would look like he had blood. So you want to go darker. There we go. Ta-da! It's a red fire axe. That's never been done before, and nobody's ever seen one red. They make it red because it's easier to see. And that's what we're abusing. We're abusing our power of color to, we're going to make it red here as well, just so we have like a general, that's where the characters are kind of thing. I'm going to make the blade a bit shinier. So there goes the blade, stuff like that. And then, so we have the dad. He's just chilling. He looks like he's wearing an Adidas jacket, you know, like those Russian memes where he's got like a Adidas with the striped jacket, sports jacket, and the pants that match. So we need to fix that. And the reason why it looks like that is because his hood is just chilling. And there we go. Still got a bit of a cone head going. Let's fix that. There we go. So now Dad's chilling with his axe. Hey son, can I ask you a question? Ha 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 ha. Thanks, Dad. Alright. So Dad's just chilling. We got Dad. Now we need kid. Boy. Like Kratos in God of War just kept calling it Atreus boy. So I do have this, which is nice. I made this brush a long time ago for like a crowd, right? But there's a kid in it. I'm gonna steal that. So let's get that kid. Because he's already got the proportions. You know, I don't have to worry about trying to figure out a kid's head compared to his body. Because kids' heads are bigger proportionally to their body than adults are. And that's, you know, it's not complicated. It's just something I don't feel like dealing with. Anything to make it quicker. So, but the kid obviously is going to be bigger than this freaking, I guess he wouldn't be. Some sheep are pretty, like 2.5, 3 feet tall. So I mean, him being like that to the sheep, that's about right. Okay, so let's bring him. He's talking to his dad, so he's gotta be close by, right? So let's bring him a little bit smaller, so he doesn't look like a giant. He's like that to his dad. A bit smaller. There. Bring that arm down. Boom. Let's have him feeding the sheep. Is that something you would do in the snow? Like a chicken? You just sprinkle food around? I don't think so. But Is that what the kid's gonna do? Probably. So let's have the kid holding in one hand a bucket, like a bucket of food, right? And then on the other hand, he's holding his shoulder like he's got like rope or something. You know, he's just helping Dad with random farm work. So let's get some of that rope. And then the bucket would be like here. There we go. So now we got kid with some kind of rope hanging off his shoulder. But now, of course, the kid needs a jacket, right? So zoom in a little bit just to help us out. Kid's got his hand around here. It's fine. And then he needs... Kid's probably got his hood up, honestly. 'Cause he's probably freaking freezing in that cold. So let's do like that. This is over one arm. So it's kind of go like that. And then he obviously wouldn't be wearing shorts. So let's give him some winter boots. There we go. And then back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. We'll give him some skin, face. Because even though we're not going to focus on him having a face, he does have one. So you would want to at least show some kind of imply that there is a face there. Let's darken it a little bit. So he's looking like that. He's got it's like that. It's probably not like Kenny. I don't think his face would be covered that much from the top. I think it'd be more on the bottom. So like that. We could also put some of this red. Nah, let's do the red on his jacket. So get some of this red, like a darker version though. So we can give him like a little hunting vest kind of thing. That might be what he's wearing, just out in the cold. Dad too, probably. Actually, Dad would probably be wearing flannel because, you know, he's Dad. But the kid's got this, like, maybe in this world they didn't find enough resources, so they found this kind of used hunting jacket out in the woods that happened to fit the kid, because obviously it's an apocalypse. You're not going to find your size and a lot of stuff, right? So that's looking good. Alright, so kid is looking fresh with his new vest and jacket. His pants could probably be a bit more blue, which we'll steal this blue and give it to good old Dad over here as well, but for his jacket. So like this. And then give it to the kid for his pants. There we go. Yeah, and then go ahead and throw some generic snow on his legs from all the boots walking around. Same thing with good old Dad. Let's give him some kind of... Just give him, like, more of this brown pants. Because we don't want too much red. If we make both of them red, then and the red fire axe and stuff, then we kind of lose the focus We want to keep it. We want to keep their clothes kind of dull because this is not a happy place. This is not something where people have a fashion sense. This is more of a thing where people are kind of just fighting to stay alive, so they're using whatever they can. Okay. So then he's good. He's got some feet, boots in the ground. There we go. So dad is chilling out here with the axe. His hood is probably up because he's probably cold just as well. But let's give him, of course, we got to give him some skin. Give me some skin, dog. So let's grab the same skin color. Go. I'm gonna grab these trees back here and kind of just get rid of them a little bit, just to help us see the silhouette, right? There we go. Okay, just kind of blend those trees in with the other ones. You don't want to render one side and then not render something nearby, because then it looks like, I mean, it just looks like you rendered it. It's pretty obvious. Cool. So now, throw some snow on his sick kicks, bro. Kind of just throw that on there. Not willy-nilly. You want to have some kind of thought process behind it. There's going to be more packed on to his boot area, you know? But then it kind of just fades off as you go up towards the top. Same thing with his jacket, which looks like a, what's that called? Like a running jacket, where it's got the small little zipper in the middle. So he might have multiple layers, you know? And see, this stuff isn't, you know, this isn't like as exciting as a cyberpunk scene, you know? This isn't as exciting as like ships flying across space or whatever. But you will get hired more for having variety to do other kinds of scenes like this, you know? So it's just good to have a variety of what you can do. And everybody has their favorite genres and themes and stuff like that to work on. I like sci-fi, I mentioned it before, but and fantasy, but you know, sometimes you don't get to do that. Sometimes you get a thing where it's like, we need you to paint this chair, we need you to design this chair, and you're like, come on, a chair, right? But you know, that's just the way it is. You gotta design. That's your job, right? So it's the way it should be. The axe head is a little too big. There we go. So, you know, say somebody came up to you and they're like, yeah, we're making this movie where dad and his son are living in this cabin out in the middle of apocalypse together, and they have to deal with all that stuff. And we just need some scenes, you know, we just need some shots from when they're just working at the house, some shots of them inside, some shots of them later with like more tense drama of zombies and stuff coming in. You know, stuff like that makes sense. You would need a concept artist, and you would have to, you know, paint out the different areas and stuff like that, different scenes. But this is just one of the scenes. It's not an action scene. It's not something that's going to really blow your grandpa's head off. but you know, it is something that does need to be done. So it is something that you should take into consideration when you are working on just portfolio stuff, or if you're running out of like if you're like writer's block kind of thing, but instead of having writer's block, you have artist block, where you just can't think of what your next painting would be. You know, just Just think of a scene in a movie or game, and just try to think about what's going on in the scene, what needs to be explained, what needs to be shown, what needs to be detailed, yada yada yada. And just kind of come up with some cool stuff. And that's another thing about world building, you just kind of, you're making this world that doesn't exist seem like it does. And a lot of the times to do that, it takes showing how normal stuff happens, like in Star Wars. They went to a bar. It's just a bar, but there's a crap load of different aliens in there. There's people with lightsabers, people shooting first and people shooting second. I'm not going to start that argument. So it's just, but it sets the world. It really helps people understand, okay, like I can relate to this now because I can kind of compare it to something that I've done in real life. So by having some kind of normalcy to it, it keeps the suspension of disbelief within the realm of, actually achieving it, because people kind of get it. I mean, like Alita did that. Alita Battle Angel, back to talking about that. It showed this world that's, all cyberpunky and crazy, but the main character looks like an anime character, right? Like she's got massive eyes and stuff like that, and her proportions are all jacked, but you still didn't really throw you off too much because of the fact that the rest of the world was kind of normal. So by seeing the fact that she wasn't, it kind of threw in your head that she was a robot. So she looks different. She's not supposed to look super humanoid. So it kind of helped by seeing that the rest of the world was somewhat normal, even though she had nothing to do with the world. It kind of just helps you figure it out. It just helps you know what is how this world works a bit better, stuff like that, that kind of thing. Yeah, dude, take it easy, Ian. I'm just gonna finish this up, man, and then that's pretty much it for this stream anyways. For next stream, I was thinking because Ghost of Tsushima comes out Friday, and I was thinking for the next stream that I would do a Ghost of Tsushima world, or some designing of that kind of theme, that like feudal China, Japan, China, samurai, ninja. I know there's two different things, but like that kind of feeling, right? Could have like Kyoto temples, stuff like that. There's a great show on Netflix that's in that same realm, which is The Kingdom, I think, and it's a zombie show, but it's based in ancient Korea. Like I don't know what you would call that, because I know it's feudal Japan, and then I guess ancient China, but I have no idea what you would call the Korean version of that. Anyways, it's in that century, but in Korea. So they all have, swords and stuff like that. And they're dealing with, robes and classic ancient Asian fashion and weaponry. But zombies start showing up. And I'm not a fan of zombie shows. Walking Dead is something I've just kind of been watching forever, so it's kind of more of like a loyalty thing at this point. But I'm not a fan of zombie shows that have slow zombies, like the Shamblers, like Walking Dead calls them the Walkers, stuff like that. I'm more of a fan of the ones that are jacked out of their mind, like the World War Z, or even 28 days later, 28 weeks later, stuff like that, where they're just kind of something that would actually cause an apocalypse. The slow walking ones, they'd be like, oh no, and then just freaking shoot them. They'd be dead. The slow walking ones would never happen in real life because, they just wouldn't survive. they would just be dead too quick. So, the Kingdom, though, this Korean one, is straight up the super fast ones. It's the it's the jacked out of the mind ones, and it's perfect. And I really like it. So I would recommend that if you guys haven't seen it. That's a really good one. It's on Netflix, just in case I didn't say it. So, you know, it's not anything you have to commit to waiting a week to see. One thing I am waiting to see, though, is Umbrella Academy. Season 2. Trailer just released for that. And I am pretty freaking stoked. Dog. Also, while I'm just chatting about shows, all I'm doing is just adding a bit more detail. I'm adding a bit of snow, fixing some window frames, stuff like that. Nothing really mind-blowing, but something that just adds a little bit more of cohesive world, you know? Because if the wood isn't perfectly flush, then snow would get on certain bits of it. Stuff like that. Yeah, so now we're going to merge these two. We're going to merge these layers, duplicate, merge. And then we're going to add some snow to these animals too, just like we did on the other one. So if we kind of just throw them in there. I like this off-white that some of these sheep, this one sheep has. So I'm going to throw that in there as well. Yeah. That's actually what inspired this one. I was playing Last of Us 2, and I just really like the mood of it. You know, I'm a big fan of Last of Us, anyways. Like Eden Zana was the lead concept artist on that. He's my role model, but it was more of a. I was playing the game and I was just really enjoying the environment, you know. So I got to this like inspiration to do like a sad, depressing, cold scene, just like in Last of Us. So you know, that's the way I go. I of course, being on ArtStation, all the people that worked on The Last of Us are all of a sudden just spamming all of their Last of Us work on ArtStation, which is fine. I get it. I mean, if I worked on it, I would have been super stoked and been throwing it everywhere too. However, for somebody who hasn't worked on it, that just means like half of your ArtStation page of the new stuff is just Last of Us stuff. And it's, you know, it's not bad. It just means that you have to scroll through a lot of Last of Us stuff to get to like anything new, anything different. It's pretty funny. I'm assuming these are goats, by the way. I'm like part sheep, part goat, depending on which one they are. So this one could have some ram horns. Should be upwards. Like that. This one on the right reminds me of The Witch. I don't know if you ever... I mean, not their clothing, obviously, is too new. But The Witch is one of the coolest horror movies I've ever seen. It's in my top 5, for sure. I'm also just a big fan of A24, the company that worked on it. Because A24 likes to make very weird horror movies. And just movies in general. Movies that kind of break the cliche of those genres, right? And... like, for example, A24 made Hereditary, phenomenal horror movie. They made The Witch, which was like one of the first ones that really got them going. They made Midsummer, which I really like Midsummer because it's a long one. It's like 3 hours long, but it's a horror movie where the entire thing, besides like the first 10 minutes of it, the entire movie is during the day. So it's a horror movie that really disturbs you and freaks you out, but it's not dark, you know, and it's like a cool little spin on the fact that most horror movies rely on darkness to creep people out. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, they also worked on The Lighthouse, which was with... I forget his name. The guy that played Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. So Willem Dafoe's in it, and Edward from Twilight. what's his face? I can't remember his name. The twinkly guy from Twilight. I think it was Edward Cullen or something like that. Anyways, him and Willem Dafoe play in The Lighthouse. And let me tell you, that's a freaking weird movie. But what's funny is the director, when asked about like what did the movie mean, you know, he said that like the ending and stuff. I'm not gonna spoil any of it, but he said that it was open ended because he really just wanted to make the movie. He didn't really have like a goal in mind, you know. I thought that was pretty cool. That he just kind of, he's just like, screw it. I just want to make this idea that I have, and you know, I don't really have an idea on how it ends. So it's more of an open-ended thing, and it's a really good movie. If you ever want to watch a horror movie in 4:3 aspect ratio, because the entire thing is not filmed widescreen; it's all full screen. So the whole movie is in 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's really funny. But it's cool, and it's a good movie, and it messes with you a bit. And I really like horror movies, so of course I was all down for it. So I would recommend anything by A24. It Comes at Night, or no, so It Comes at Night, or They Come at Night. The Freaks Come Out at Night was the song, but I think it's It Comes at Night was Robert Pattinson. Exactly, that's the guy. So that's Twinkly Man from Twilight. Anyways, they did great in The Lighthouse. It was a great movie. They did great acting, but It Comes at Night was like their second movie. I think came out after The Witch. Second one after The Witch. You know, they made more movies than just The Witch and stuff, but it didn't do well. And I watched it, and I wasn't a huge fan of it because it was like a zombie movie. But like I said, it's A24, so they tried to do their own twist on it and make it different, and they did good. It was definitely different. It wasn't cliche at all, and it definitely wasn't predictable. But it just wasn't great, you know? It was done well, filmed well, cinematography on it was great. It just wasn't something that I would consider one of their better ones. So, I mean, you know, that one's a good one if you want to watch it, though. That's just, I wouldn't say it's the best choice. That kind of logic. All right. So now I have cleaned this up a bit. I have fixed up the hole in the ceiling. I have something selected. There we go. I fixed up the hole in the ceiling. And, well, you know, I didn't actually fix it up. I just kind of made it look more like it should. And right now I'm going to add some more dark planks in here, just to really add to the fact that this wood is kind of all warped and all out of jack because it's going the wrong direction. But yeah, A24, anything that they make is really good. But the reason why I said this reminded me of The Witch is because most of their stuff is about small groups. You know, it's not about like, it's not a horror movie that's about the end of the world and you run into like a bunch of different characters. It's usually about less than like 4 characters the whole movie, right? So The Witch was only about one family, and it was just a mom, dad, son, 2 little girls, and then the oldest daughter. That was the whole movie. Like the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, they establish why the family is out where they are, which again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but in reality, it's more of just that family the rest of the movie. So the entire movie is based on just a very small cast. And then the same exact thing happens in Hereditary. It's about one family. You barely ever see any other important characters. And then Midsummer. It's about a group of friends. You see other characters, but it's mostly about just that group of friends and their experience. Lighthouse is about 2 people in a lighthouse. So, you know, I like that kind of intimacy, you know, where it's just more focused on the characters' experiences without it being like, oh, these 6 teenagers went into a cabin in the woods, but what they weren't expecting was the end of the world. When teenager 1 decides to go out in the woods and party, he ends up getting cut in the head, you know? Like, all right, seen it 1,000 times, but you know, you put 2 people in a lighthouse and they're stuck there for months, then, you know, it creates some weird psychological problems, which is pretty cool. But definitely don't go into the lighthouse expecting you to understand what is going on, because you're not. You're really not. Okay, so let's push this stuff further back. The trees in the background behind the dad. Just kind of push all of that back. Actually, let's make it bigger. Just like that. A little bit more. It's too much. Yeah, there we go. Just like that. And then kind of just push some of this stuff back, because it is a blizzard. You can see there is snow flying. It's not really a blizzard, but there is snow flying. So all this dark shadow stuff would start having some kind of weird haze to it just because of the snow falling in front of it. And then we're going to want to bump up the orange in the house, but it's kind of desaturated a little bit. I don't like that. Bring that down. Yeah, let's just use the mask. Just like that. That. Take that out. That out. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So now we have them all together. Let's go ahead and do the auto tone, auto contrast stuff on this right one, just to get an idea in case we just didn't think of something. Nope. Auto contrast. Nope. And auto color. No, I think contrast did show a little bit better if we take the midtones of the whole image and just kind of bring them in a little bit. But just barely. Actually, I think it's fine. I think it's fine the way it is. Okay. So now we got all that going. Let's content aware this broken piece, because I'm curious to see. Yeah, I think it's better without the window. I think the window was bothering me. Actually, we could turn that into like a stack of logs, but yeah, I think it's fine like that. So we'll paint that out a little bit. There we go. That needs to be 100%. Whoops. Always do that. There we go. Paint all that out. There we go. Another good one is, you know, speaking of horror movies, because I'm just a huge fan of them. What's the name of it? It was called, like, the Ritual, I think. And it was about these, again, small cast members. It was It was about these group of friends that went out into the woods for like a vacation, but they were out in the middle of like Scotland woods, you know, Scotland, and there was some kind of. If you ever played The Witcher, there was some kind of creature out there that was from The Witcher, but there was a bunch of like head games that are going on. It really messes with your head, and I really dig it. I think it's nice. It's good. It's a good movie. So it should be on Netflix too, unless they took it off. I'm not sure. They're always taking stuff on and off for no reason. Okay. I think the only thing left is the kid needs to have some kind of shadow on the snow. So let's just do a brief little faded shadow there. There's not going to be any direct shadows. As you can tell from the house, there's not any direct shadow on the snow because there's no sunlight. I mean, there's sunlight, but there's no like direct sunlight. So it's all diffused, it's all soft, it's all dark, sad. There we go. Okay, I think the chimney might need to move to there. Yeah, right. There we go. What are you grabbing? I have no idea what you're grabbing, so I'm just gonna paint it out with the sky. Yeah, something like that. It's a little bit better. Because if the chimney was in the middle and the roof is caving in like this, then it would have caused an issue. Anyways, but also compositionally, I think it looks better if it's further back in the house. So let's just add some snow to it, to the rocks in the chimney. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, as far as two narratives go that are sad and depressing, I think the one on the left might be a little bit too blue, or not blue, but too the levels need to be fixed. That's the word I'm trying to think of. So it's the midtones that are bothering me. I think it's actually the fact that it's too dark. Gotta bump up those shadows on the edges here. I mean, you don't want it to be, you know, like I always said 1,000 times, I don't like corners to be, you know, anything you want people to look at, but they still, so I usually darken the corners, but you still don't want the corners to be dark just because of that reason. You want to have like a legitimate reason why they're dark. Lighten up this horse a bit. Darken this guy's pants, not shadows, it'll be midtones. There. Yeah, there we go. So now we have, you know, we created two narratives. Well, not two narratives, but two narrative-based pieces. Just as they're not fully clean, right? They're not rendered. They're what I would consider like really clean sketches, you know? Usually by the time I send somebody a sketch, there's less work than this. But this is about what I would consider storyboard concept art, I guess. Like if you're trying to find out what a certain scene would look like color-wise and stuff like that, you could also keep the same exact composition on both of these and then just play with the time of day, because that would be more of set designing, where you're designing like, you know, we have this scene of the farm and stuff, but there are multiple scenes, and some are going to be during the day, some are going to be during night, some are during, maybe there's a snowstorm at some point. So we need to see what it looks like during all of those. You could keep this exact composition and then just change the lighting and the position of subjects and stuff, but keep like, just don't even mess with the picture's composition. And then, you have like 4 different sets. So you'll have the same set, but one is during the day, one's at night, one's at dusk, one's during a snowstorm, stuff like that. And it just gives the set designer, or like in the game, whoever would control, like the lighting artist, there we go. So in the game would be the lighting artist. They get to see in general what it would look like. And that is, just another aspect of concept art. It's not all about making cool stuff just because it's cool. It also helps people, that's the whole purpose. You're trying to help the rest of the team kind of get a general idea of what's going on. And then, of course, if you flesh out the concept art more, then it starts turning into like promotional art. So you can also, do the concept art for its purpose, but then afterwards, instead of it just disappearing, you also get to render it out, and then it doubles as like an advertisement for the game, right, or the movie. Just as long as it's rendered out enough. So that's pretty much the whole process when it comes to narrative stuff. And as you can see, working with 2 different pieces at the same time, you still have the same feeling, and you're still running the same kind of scene, the same kind of emotion to it, but it's, they're both still snowy, they're both kind of like a farm, but they're still taken in their own way, and they still have their uniqueness to it, right? I do need to add snow to boy. Forgot about that. So let's just add some snow to him. It's on his shoulder, it's on his hood. Like that. Here we go. Might have some on his jacket zipper. Sure, some of that has some snow on it, which adds like some reflections and stuff. So here we go. Yeah. So yeah, a little shorter stream, a little bit simpler. I just thought I would show more of a narrative story than it would be, or like a narrative shot than an establishing shot, just to add some aspects, some aspect to variety of what I'm showing, and at some point, like the Ghosts of Tsushima stuff, for next week, I'm going to play the crap out of it Friday. You best believe that. But then I'm going to take that from playing the game. You also get a bunch of inspiration from it. That's how I got this snow scene inspiration, was from The Last of Us. So, Ghosts of Tsushima, I'm going to play it. I'm going to love it. It's going to be great. I'm a huge fan of Sucker Punch. And then I'm going to take this emotion, this feeling of the world that you play and you get to understand, and just kind of take it and know that when you go into the concept art, you already have a jumping off point because you already have the mood, right? So Friday I'm gonna play the crap out of it, and then Saturday, it actually will be 1 week instead of 2 weeks. Saturday I will continue to stream, and we'll go ahead and do like some kind of establishing shot of a Tsushima area. And then I was thinking a week after that, we could probably do an interior shot of one of the, I don't know, like a temple maybe, or even just the inside of some kind of shack that the enemies are hanging out in. So it'd have like statues and flags and banners and idols and stuff like that all in it. But then you could have, I thought I might even do like some prop design, just kind of show you how you can use photo textures for designing props, like the like maybe maybe just a house. We could, like, instead of having a composition like this, I could do an isometric 3/4 angle. Show you how I usually design buildings and stuff if they need like in their own concept. Then you could do vehicles like a cart, wagons, friggin' horse designs, stuff like that. So yeah, I plan on covering all of that stuff over time. But next week, Ghost of Tsushima, establishing shot. No idea what it's going to be though. So I just know that's the general idea that I'm going to go for. So I hope you enjoyed the chill stream. This was, a bit more relaxed. And it's always relaxed. None of us are serious here, but a bit more calm. There was no questions being thrown back and forth. It was more of just an art stream with me sharing some information and just talking about movies. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, if you have any questions or any things that you would like to see, and like you specifically would like to see, feel free to shoot up the Discord with some questions. We'll make sure we get to them next week. Or if there's like a specific theme that you would like to see me do that I can show you how to do, specific subject, genre, whatever, just let me know. And if you go in the Discord, I think it's in the community Discord. You can just throw into the concept art area just like some questions, stuff like that. And or on Twitter, even on Twitter, shoot me up on Twitter. Let me know. My Twitter tag. Is my Twitter tag attached to my ArtStation? I don't think it is. But my Twitter is, if you go into the Matte Paint Twitter, you can see that I usually am attached to it in some way. But if you want a direct link to my Twitter, it is, I will go ahead and just throw that in the chat for your own references. There you go. That is my Twitter tag. Feel free to follow. Feel free not to follow. I don't know, it's fine. Just, if you have any questions or specific requests for these streams, feel free to let me know. Hit up my DMs. Whatever you want to do. But thank you for joining me. I will see you guys next time. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend.